Hello YouTube, Captain Mac here, and welcome back to our Circadian Rhythm Killer Tour. Now this flight is going to be actually a really short one. It is absolutely the shortest flight on the entire schedule. We're going to be flying KLM out of EHAM or Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam, and we're going to be hopping on over to Frankfurt, Maine. Now, I have one issue here with GSX, and this is actually starting to get on my nerves a little bit. Sometimes GSX will operate the jetways, and sometimes it won't. And the times that it won't, it wants me to upgrade to GSX level 2 or whatever. Well, here's the skinny on that. I realized that I could go in and redo my sceneries and get rid of the SOD jetways, and that would probably resolve the issue. But what really pisses me off about it is that GSX basically teases me with it a little bit and then expects me to pay money to do something that I was able to do without their product before. I don't like the fact that I can't operate my jetways by myself. It's actually really starting to get on my nerves. So, you folks who over there at FS Dream Team who made GSX, seriously, stop screwing with the sim like that, alright? Either let us operate the jetways with GSX 1 or remove the feature altogether unless you have GSX 2 and let me use the stupid Control J function to do it. Because, seriously, I'm not going to spend any more money on your products. It's really starting to tick me off. Alright. Rant is over. So, I don't think passengers are actually going to load on the aircraft. I'll probably have to shut GSX down or disable it and then re-enable it just to get a pushback because of this nonsense. But anyway, there's our there's our beginning rant and our introduction to this flight. You can tell it's going to be a fun one, right? So, without further ado, what do you say we climb up? It looks like we're going to have to go up through the rear of the aircraft where the stairs are and walk all the way up to the flight deck and get to business. You guys tell me, is it noticeable that that annoys me a little bit? It really is ridiculous to me, honestly. I mean, why should I have to pay more money for an add-on product to do something I was able to do without that product before? But now because I have one of their products, they expect me to have the other one in order to do what I was already able to do. Anyway, I'm going to stop complaining about it. Let's take a look at what we got going on for the day. Here we are, EHAM, Schiphol, Sim Toolkit Pro. They all go together. It works fantastically. If you don't have this program, guys, I don't know what you're doing. This thing is awesome. Anyway, going over to EDDF or Frankfurt, Maine. I took a look at maybe grabbing the Aorous scenery for it, but I decided against it, at least for the time being. It's $35 that I don't want to shell out for an airport that I don't know how often I'm going to use it anyway. So, we're looking at a very short flight here, 244 nautical miles through the air. Trip fuel's a mere 4,665 pounds. Now, I know they use kilograms over there, and I was going to put it on kilograms, and my mind just doesn't function right with kilograms. I'm just not used to it. And since I don't have to do it, I'm kind of not doing it. So, guys, bear with me a little bit. It's not, I don't have anything against kilograms or anything like that, okay? It's just, I just have a really hard time. You know, it's 2.2 pounds per kilogram. And, you know, you start talking about these numbers and my brain just doesn't work right. So, I mean, because we're looking at what? That's well over 8,000 kilos of fuel, right? So that's just, I don't know. It just doesn't work right for my brain, guys. Or maybe I have it backwards, see? But anyway, let's move on here. Final reserve fuel, 2,300 pounds and change, almost 2,400. And our block fuel is at 12,999. I just put it at an even 13,000. I figured, what the heck? What's 1 pound of fuel, right? It's not even a gallon, just so you know. A gallon of fuel is 6 pounds and change. Taking a look down here, we got just a mere 600 pounds of cargo, 37,400 pounds total payload, 160 packs on board, zero fuel weights, 129,300, which is pretty well below our max. We're a little heavy, but not too bad. So that's kind of the plan of the day. Now, with all of that said, taking a look here at our checklist, we've already accepted. Whoop, there's a hiccup for you. We've already accepted the aircraft into the cockpit acceptance check list now, and there was another hiccup trying to work its way out. Let's make sure the parking brake is on. Battery should be on. We are on ground power right now. Batteries, this guy right here, battery is on. Electric hydraulic pumps need to be off. That's these two in the middle right here. Landing gear lever is down. Start levers are in the cutoff position. That's back down here. Landing gear lever. Start levers down here in the cutoff. The overhead fuel valve lights are illuminated. That is these guys right here. I'm looking over here, but it's actually right here. Ground power is on. If you're not sure, left click it, and there you go. And then fire warning systems need to be tested. That's all the way back here. So left click this guy, lights up. Right click, you get the bells and the lights. And then come over here, left click, you get 3 green. Right click, you get 3 green, and you're done. And at least I think you're done. If I'm missing something on that, let me know. Both the signs need to go on. That is, where you at? This guy and this guy. You know, they're not loading passengers, are they? Because I asked them to load already. Yeah, they're supposed to be loading, so we should hear passengers loading. So real quick, here again. See, now here's what I'm going to have to do. Here's going to have to be my workaround. I'm going to have to customize. Oh, I can't even do it because services are active, which means they're not going to load passengers at all. That's just obnoxious to me. Coughing in your face there. Okay, moving on. Emergency exits are armed. That's this guy right here. Just give it a left click and you're good to go. The signs are on. Recirc fan needs to be on auto. Both of them do. So left and right. So that's off. That's auto. Same thing with that one. Engine bleeds should be off at the moment, so we turn both of those off. And then it says commence passenger boarding. Fantastic. Alright, we're not going to start the APU yet, but that takes care of our cockpit acceptance checklist. Alright, let's continue to press on here. We're going to be moving relatively quick and quicker as we continue on. We're getting used to flying these aircraft more and more. And so there's no need to fiddle fart around, is there? So jumping up to the overhead panel here. Flight control panel, yaw dampers need to be on. They're going to just jump right back off, you'll see. There they go. Fuel system panel needs to be checked. All the fuel pumps on as required. Right now they can all stay off. There's no reason to have them on at the moment. They should be part of the push and start, right? I'm just looking over here. Yeah, fuel pumps will go on there and push and start. Alright, moving on down. Cabin utility, IFE, passenger switches both need to go on. That's these two right here. They're in the on position. Equipment cooling, normal lights off. Window heat needs to go on, which is these 4 over here. You can test it first if you want. Left click, they all come on. It looks like it works. Probe heat's going to stay off for now. Anti-ice is going to stay off as well. The system A and B switches both need to go on, so that's both of these here. And then the electric low pressure lights, the 2 in the middle, should go off. And let's see, left and right packs both need to be on auto. That's jumping over here, so left click each of those. And then the isolation valve, which is this guy here, should be open. That's all the way down. The middle is auto and all the way up is closed. And let's see, we're going to be flying at flight level, I think we said, well, we didn't say anything. I was looking at it a minute ago and just double check. Yeah, it's flight level 310. This is a very short flight, so put this up to 310. And then what is our airport elevation? I am actually not positive on that. Of course, the thing goes quiet again. Where are you at? Airport elevation is 364 feet. So we're going to want to set that in here for landing altitude. And we'll put it at 350 since it goes in increments of 50. What else we got here? Exterior lighting as required. The nav lights can go on, which in this case I believe are the anti-collision lights. Shouldn't need the logo lights, and I think we're good to go. And then ignition on left or right. We'll leave it on the left. And the last thing we do for this checklist is do the IRS alignment. So you're going to right click to nav. And then once it says align, you're going to left click over to align. There we go. And then we'll hop down here, go back to the proper spot here, and we'll take care of our FMC initialization. We should get a little pop-up here once we go over to position initialization. Just make sure your AirAx cycle is correct, you're in the proper model, all of that good stuff. Go over to position initialization, put in the reference airport, EHAM. There we go. We're not going to put in the gate. So it's 5218 and 0445. We can jump over here and we got 5218, 0445. So it's definitely going to be those. Jump back. Put it in there. That takes care of our FMC initialization, and that takes care of that checklist. Alright, let's press on to get this show done. We're on to our main panel setup, but we didn't do the flight plan yet, so let's go ahead and take care of that. Click on route, and then it's going to be a company route, so it's EHAM to EDDF, Frankfurt, Maine, and I didn't put any number designator on there, so there you have it. And the flight number is KLM, and I believe it is 2101. It is in fact 2101. Let's activate that and execute. And before we go to performance initialization, real quick, I want to go to actually no, I'm not positive where it is on here, so we'll figure it out as we go. Performance initialization it is then. Click on the zero fuel weight, click it again, and there you have it, 129.4. Now that number is available on the payload page as well, so if you don't want to do it that way, you can always go to your let me show you here. If you go to FS Actions, go to Payload, and then there you go, zero fuel weight, 129.4. So just something to keep in mind if you don't like doing the little double click there. What did we say our final reserves were? It is, hold on, I gotta find it now. 2379. So we'll just put it at let's put it at 2.4. It's close enough to 2400. Cost index is going to be 85 for us. There we go. And then cruise altitude, I don't know why it's saying 248. We're scheduled for 310. And in order to get there, we're probably going to have to do a full bore takeoff and climb, even though we're not super duper heavy. Going over to N1 limit, that's what we'll stick with. We'll just stick with a normal takeoff, normal climb, and that should make it easier to get up there. And then over to our takeoff page, flaps will be flaps 5. Center of gravity is going to be 22.8, and that you can also get on this page as well, 22.8%. So if you don't want to click it and put it like that, then just do it that way. We haven't put in our departure yet, and that's why it's not giving us V speed. So go to departure arrival, click on departure, and it is, forgot the name of it already, the Rendy 1T departure. Probably be quicker to go this way, maybe not. There are a lot of departures out of here. So Rendy 1T, it's going to be off of runway 6. We'll execute that. Go to our legs page real quick and just make sure we don't have any discontinuities. And I want to compare this to our departure chart here. So EH036, yeah, so, yep, so it's 500 feet. We make a right turn to 036, then it's out to 017, then it's out to Ivlet, Lennox, and Rendy, and then Edupo, I think is probably how you say that, and then there you go. And while we're at it, because it's such a short flight, I want to put in our arrival as well. And our arrival is going to be the Rollis 2B. So let's find that one real quick. So it's the Raleigh 2B. Now we're not going to choose our runway yet because we're not sure what it's going to be. But just go back to our legs page, make sure we didn't get any discontinuities. We did not, so we should be good on that as well. And then click on your takeoff page again, and there you have it, 135, 137, 147. And where is, that's our thrust reduction. We could pull the wind if we wanted right now. If I look over here at active sky, coughing in your face some more. The wind is 120 at 6 knots. That is going to make, why is that runway 6? That actually makes no sense. Runway 6 for wind 120 when I've got runway 18 left, 18 center. Yeah, that doesn't really make sense at all, does it? I don't really like that, to be honest with you guys. So here's the issue though. So with runway 18 left, it would be a different departure. And now I don't know which departure is for 18 left. That's one of the issues. So a lot of these departures, like the departure we have, is specific for this runway. I have no idea which departures are specific for runway 18 left, and I don't really know how to find them. Do you guys know? Is there like a way to know? You know what? There is a way to know. There's a way using the FMC anyway. If we go back here to departure arrival, and we choose 1.8 left, these should all be the departures for 1.8 left, right? And I know that it's not applicable to that SID. Hold on one second, guys. What's up, kiddo? I don't know. Should I be outside, boy? Who is? What? How are they being mean? Okay, this is being recorded, just so you know. Mom might be up in our room. That would be my youngest daughter arguing with her brother and her older sister. Okay, so these should be departures that are available for runway 18 left, right? So let me find a couple. Let's just look at the Andy 2E as an example here. So, yeah, this one could work. Well, no, it doesn't really go the direction we want to go. What about the Arnie 3? Let me Arnhem 3E. Let's see where that one goes. Ah, now that one goes where we want to go. That's the one I want to use. So I'm going to switch to the Arnhem 3E. I'm going to execute that, and then you go to your legs page, and so now you see you've got EH037. And then it's a left out to Ivlut, and then Niker, and then Arnhem, and that looks good. And then we might not need a Dupo and Napro on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that discontinuity for now. I mean, there's you could fix it now too. You know what? Let me show you. I have to wait till the IRS alignment is complete. So I'll show you guys how to fix that. If I remember right before we get airborne. But basically all you're going to do is you're going to take the waypoint you want to go direct to, and you're going to replace it with this discontinuity, and that'll erase anything in between. It's pretty straightforward. So that's what we're going to take for that one. We can get rid of the Rendy. Let's see. It was the Rendy, right? Yeah, we can get rid of that one. We might still fly to Edupo, as a matter of fact, just looking at the Rendy departure there. So alright, so that was fun. What else we got here, since we're taking a lot longer than I wanted to at this point? We've got... Oh, we need to go back and do our V-speeds again. 35, 37, 47 is going to be runway 18 left now instead. And then on the... Is it the descent page? Where on this, I can't, you know what, forecast, transition level, flight level 030. Yep, it's good. So 3000 is the transition level here. So we're going to go on that, and we will leave this page up. 4, 9, or 6 on here. Let's throw that on while we're looking at it. That's about as close as we're going to get. And then we'll jump up here. A little bit more housekeeping to do. Both of these guys on. Let me look at this departure. Are there any altitude restrictions? And I'm looking for maximum altitude is what I'm looking for. And I am not seeing any. I'll give it a closer look here in a few minutes, but at the moment I don't think we have any altitude restrictions, so we can take this all the way up to 310. There we go. And then V2 was 147 plus 5 is going to be 152. There we go. LNAV and VNAV can both be armed. No, they can't because our IRS alignment is not complete. It probably is. We just need to click these over. Right click, we get some numbers. We're good to go. And there you go. You can see we're good to go. So now I can arm the LNAV and the VNAV. And let's see, unable 220 knots at EH037. Well, that makes sense considering EH037 is right off the end of the runway. What doesn't make sense is why the FMC would expect you to be doing 220 knots. That is the maximum speed, not the minimum speed. And while I got this up, let's throw this over to plan mode real quick. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. So as we step through, zoom this out a little ways. Make sure you guys can see it here. Alright, so there's the EH037. It's right after takeoff. And it's out to Ivlup, Niker, Arnhem. So you see, we don't really need a Dupo there. We could even bypass NAPRO, I guess it is, right? So what we can do is we can take D-pad, select that one there, so it puts it in the scratch pad, go back and just put it where the discontinuity is. And what that'll do is once you execute that, that will actually erase those other two. It'll get rid of these. So watch this. When I execute, bam, they're gone now. Simple as that. Alright, so just keep that in mind. Put that back on map mode there. And yeah, I know you're unable 220 at it's not a hard speed. Okay, put it back down there. What else we got here? Let's see, course needs to be set, so it's going to be 183 degrees on the heading. Doesn't really matter which way you go, does it? 183 on the heading, and then you can set the course to that as well if you want. Doesn't really matter. 3, and then our minimum should be 200 feet, and that'll be radio, so we'll put that at 200. And that's just for actually no, well, we don't have that height restriction or a turn height on this one, so yeah, we'll just set it to 200. On the other departure we were going to do, you had to wait until you hit 500 feet for your turn, so you could set your minimums at 500, and then that, you know, you would know, hey, we're there, we're at our turn point or whatever. Anyway, moving on. Flight directors are on. Auto throttle is armed. Heading is set for the runway. Altitude is set for our initial clearance. Auto brake needs to go to RTO. There we go. Radios are good. We do need to come back here, set our transponder code, and for some reason all of a sudden I couldn't figure out where it was. 2336, because we don't have any actual ATC. Do our TCAS test there. Speed brake is down, thrust levers are idle, engine start levers are cut off, and stabilizer trim is set.
Test pass.
That completes our main panel setup, ladies and gentlemen. Alrighty, so as expected, GSX did not load passengers for us, so I disabled it, re-enabled it so that we can push and start. Now with that being said, before we do that, we do need to take care of our taxi and our departure briefing. So, bam, Sim Toolkit Pro once again, right? Let's jump up top here first. And we're looking at ATIS for departures on 122.205. I'm not sure what ATC operational information means. Let's see, it's got number 5. Information about expected runway combination related to SIDS during peak hours is broadcast on this frequency. Okay, there you go. So you've also got Schiphol delivery. Is it Schiphol or Schiphol? I still can't figure it out. 121.980, and that's what, number 6. Excuse me, I get the hiccups. Pilots are strongly requested after having obtained a read back and read back the en route clearance to switch WOATC without ATC instructions to Schiphol Planner. Okay? And that would be this one here. And then ground frequencies, tower frequencies, and departure frequencies. There's a lot of hotspots on here, and there's a lot going on. This is a seriously busy airport. We are located right about here, and we're going to be going up to runway 18 left. So when we push back, it's actually going to push us back this way just because I set up a custom pushback. So we'll swing around here at Alpha 5, and then we'll take Alpha all the way up until we hit Bravo, because that just seems the way to, yeah, Bravo. And then we'll take Bravo all the way up here to November 2. And we'll use that to cross over 2709 and then hold short at Echo 6 of runway 18 left. Now let's take a look at the departure. So we did switch it up here. Here you go, transition altitude at 3,000 feet, departure on 119.055, and the airport elevation is minus 11 feet. Now for us, it is the Arnhem 3 Echo departure. So as we depart here out to EH037, maximum of 220 knots. Our aircraft apparently doesn't like that being in there. It's a left turn to 093 degrees all the way out to Ivlet, then a slight right to 095 out to Niker, and then another right out here to Arnhem. Now, permission for VFR flights without ATC clearance, I'm assuming that's inbound? I don't know. It just says beyond Niker, but we need to be at or below, so I missed that, at or below flight level 6,500 or 65. So we'll change that really quick. And until we get past Niker, we'll remain at flight level 65. And it just sounds weird to me to call that a flight level. So let's move that back over here. Let's change this real quick, bring it down to 6,500. Coming on down. Does anybody know why the transition levels are so low over in Europe and really all across this part of the world? The transition levels are typically lower, but in the United States it's 18,000 feet across the board, and they change all over out here. Does anybody know why that is? Because I have no idea, so I'm genuinely curious about that. Anyway, let's see, QNH is 1014. We'll switch that over, and there we go, that's 1013. There's 1014, 11 feet below the ground. And that means it's time to start the APU. Left click it once, left click it again, and then you'll see it start to spin up here. I'm going to go ahead and let that spool up, and then once it's done, I'll come back on here and we will push and start. Alrighty folks, the tug is just pulled up, getting ready to push us back here. Let's take a look at our push and start checklist.
Hello, Captain. We're ready for pushback.
Passenger boarding is completed. The doors are closed and locked. We have clearance for push. The throttles are at idle. Start levers are in the off position. Packs need to go off. That's up top here. Let's give them a quick right click. That'll turn them off. APU is running. Bleed air pressure is checked and good. Fuel pumps need to all come on. We don't have any fuel in the center. We don't need it. We're not going that far. Anti-collision light is already on. Parking brake released when the time comes. And why aren't the engine bleeds on here? Aren't engine bleeds supposed to be on? Nope. Engine bleeds go on after start. Alright, so the way the start works, we're going to start with number 2. We're going to move the starter to the ground position here. And then once the N2 on here, it says 20%. I've heard 15, 20, 25, but I'm pretty positive it's 25. So at 25%, we'll introduce the fuel by moving the start lever up, and then we'll be good to go. Okay, just missed what he was asking for there. So prepare for push and departure, and I want to use the autosave quick edit pushback.
Departure check completed. Bypass pin inserted. Release parking brakes. Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
All right. So starting over here with engine number 2, give it a left click. Keep an eye on your N2, which we got to bring up the engines page to do it. There's the N2, so we'll wait till it's at 25%, and then we'll move the fuel cut or the engine cutoff lever up to idle. That introduces the fuel. There's 2, 23, 24, and 25. There we go. And the engine should fire up without any problem. Really frustrating dealing with GSX sometimes. It's really a shame that you know, they want to push their new product so hard that they're going to actually make it harder to use the old product. That's how I feel about it anyway. Alright, starter clicked off on its own. Engine should stabilize. Usually it's around 20 to 22. Looks good. Let's go ahead and start engine number 1. Left click it to ground. Watching the N2 down here. Wait till it gets to 25. There we go. I just want to double check my A cars over here, make sure it's started. It did.
Set parking brakes.
And at least they put us where I wanted them to, so that's good.
Confirmation for good engine start.
Alright, so we'll just let that engine finish spooling up here. And I will come back shortly and we'll take care of our after start checklist. Alright, we'll start by confirming a good engine start for them. That'll get them disconnecting out there. Let's go up top here. Engine generators can go on. So 1 and 2. And that means we don't need the APU anymore. Probe heat goes on first. Anti-ice as required. What is our temperature? I haven't actually looked at it. It's 15 degrees, but it is wet, so we'll need to keep an eye on that because anti-ice may need to come on after departure.
Unlocking gear.
Engine bleeds on. 1 and 2. Packs can go to auto. That's the research fan.
Bypass fan removed.
Auto, auto, auto for the isolation valve as well. APU bleed can go off. APU switch can go off. External lights as required. Wing lights can go on. Strobe lights stay where they're at. Logo lights aren't needed right now. Taxi lights can go on, even though it's probably shining in their face. I don't care. Let's do the attendant call. Put the seatbelt sign to on.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
And check the recall. Click it. And what does it say? Flight controls. Why is it saying flight controls? Because we haven't done the yaw damper yet. Look at that. Now watch. That'll go away. There we go. And then you're supposed to be able to check the flight controls by going to the systems page. But it never comes up for me. Am I missing something? Am I doing something wrong here? Zip down here just a little bit. Somebody mentioned it in one of the comments, but when I click on the system button, that's all I get every time. And it doesn't matter which aircraft I'm in, that's what I get. If I click on the engine button, I get that, and that's it. Those are my two options. So let's go ahead and get the flaps to 5 here. And let's see, that completes our after start checklist. Let's go ahead and roll right into our taxi checklist here. Taxi clearance has been obtained. Ground crew, they should be out of the way now, right? Are they gone? Yep, they're gone. Ground crew's gone. Fantastic. Let's see, flaps need to be set. For some reason it's not on the list, but I wrote it in there because I got tired of not setting the flaps. We've got everything else good to go. Let me just slide my chair up into place here. And let's make sure we're at the proper view. Track hour coming on, a little jump. There we go. And brakes off. Little thrust coming in. And let's get this taxi started. And she is not heavy, so she's going to go. See that? I already cut the throttles all the way back to 0. And yeah, she's a moving. So alright, up and around the corner. It's quite a ways for the taxi, so I'm going to go ahead and taxi out, and I will not bore you folks with it. I will be back here for you to just be a couple of seconds, and we'll get ready to depart. So all of the AI traffic is taking off on, you guessed it, runway 6. I have no idea why. It just makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. We're going to continue with our plan to take off on runway 18 left. Taking a look real quick at our before takeoff checklist. The master caution light should be off. Hit the recall switch real quick, which I did, and we're good to go. Flight controls are checked. Flaps are set. Trim is checked and set. Flight directors are on. Takeoff briefing is complete. We have takeoff clearance, so that means lights coming on. Strobe lights can go to, where do they go on this one? Goes to strobe and steady. So I guess they were just on steady. I don't know why they're like that. We turn the logo lights on. It's getting a little bit dark out there. Let's let the flight attendant know we're about to take off. Jump down to this view. Track hour coming on, a little jump. Big jump, whatever it is. There we go. Let's get the little mouse cursor up and out of the way there. Alright, and let's get her on the runway and get going, shall we? I say we shall. It's going to be a near immediate turn after departure, which is a little crazy, if you ask me. Oh, you know what we didn't do? We didn't put our transponder on. Come on. Make sure we're not running out of space here. Hit the traffic mode. Did I hit it? Yep, I hit it. And let's put the weather radar on as well. There we go. Now we're ready to go. We should have plenty of runway to work with. A very large displaced threshold here. Hopefully we won't run into any aircraft as we're departing. The AI traffic just boggles my mind sometimes. It really does. Let's roll right into it. And thrust set. $80 knots.
V1.
Alright, positive rate of climb gear coming up. She wants to climb, doesn't she?
Gear up.
Oh, does she ever want to climb, huh? Look at that. Goodness gracious. Be making our turn here soon. Bring that down. I don't know why that's zoomed out so far. That is quite the climb there. There's our thrust reduction. Trim her down just a little bit. And start our turn. Flaps going up a little bit. Watch out she doesn't nosedive on you, because it will try. You know, I've been flying those heavy aircraft so much lately that this thing's like a little Corvette, man. I mean, this sucker just goes. Yeah, we're getting quick here. Look at that. Flaps coming all the way up. Let's get her around this corner the rest of the way here. And we're already above transition altitude, so we'll go ahead and set standard. And let's bring the autopilot on. There we go. Track hour coming off. Little jump. There it is. And let's take a look at our after takeoff checklist. Positive rate. The gear is up. The flaps are up. The auto brake can go off at this point. And other than when we get above 10,000 feet, landing lights will come off. But that's not going to be for a little bit because, come on, brain function. Because we're going to be flying at 6,500 feet for a little while. And that means, ladies and gentlemen, you guessed it, it is time once again for some of that obligatory elevator music. Alrighty folks, we just got to our cruise altitude here shortly ago, and we're going to be on top of descent before you know it. We got, I don't know, like 80 something miles to go for top of descent, 87 nautical miles to go. So we got a little bit of housekeeping to do. Again, it is a very short flight, so let's hop down here, go to our initial reference page, We're going to land flaps 30, 145 knots. Should work out nicely for us. Let me just take a quick peeky peek over here. Yeah, we've got 13,000 feet of runway. I think we'll be doing just fine. So that's what we're going to go with. Flaps 30, speed 145. And what else we got to do here? Before we get to descent, what was our glide slope intercept? It's going to be 4,000 feet. But we do have a hard altitude coming in. We got a couple of hard altitudes coming in. Actually, 8,000 being the primary one. So I'm going to set it to 8,000 for now, because you're going to see on our arrival briefing we got plenty of room past that to get down to 4,000 where we're going to need to be. So we'll set this at 8,000. There we go. Everything else is good to go. I'm going to brief the arrival and the approach, and then I'm going to show it to you on here because it's a little different and a little crazy. So, bam, there it is again, Sim Toolkit Pro. All right, we've changed our arrival now. We've changed our approach, our arrival. Everything's gotten changed. It's craziness. So we are on the Aorous 07F, not F, S Sierra 07 Sierra arrival, coming in out here at Aorous, down to Ospool, and then down here to DF632, and then this is where it's going to get really crazy. So the arrival is going to bring us out over FFM, which is the VOR, and then down here to 621, 622, 623, right turn to 613, right turn to 612, 611, 635. Here's that hard altitude at or above flight level 80. So that's why we've set it on there. And then we've got to be at Lampo when we come around here. We've got to be at or above 4,000. So we should have plenty of time. You got 7.5, 4, 4, 4, 4, lots of space to descend 4,000 feet as we come down and around this turn here to set up for the approach. The ATIS is going to be on 118.030. Airport elevation is 364 feet. Now, max speed 250 knots below 10,000 or as assigned by ATC, not applicable within airspace C. Not too worried about that. Now, let's take a look at the approach, because all of this worked into how the approach goes. So instead of coming in on the approach at either RID or TAI, we're coming in, we're flying that crazy little roundabout pattern. I don't know what you want to call that. You want to just call that a downwind, a crosswind, or an upwind, a crosswind, a downwind, a base, and then a final. That's what it is. So flying the racetrack, right? Okay, let's take a look here. ATIS is on 118.030. Radar, we're coming in from the north, so 120.805. Frankfurt Director, this is for approach, is on 18.505. Tower, that would be the, I must have pause at top of descent still turned on. Yes, I do. Oops. Moving on. Tower is going to be on 18.780, ground on 21.805. Localizer frequency is 110.55 with a final approach course of 067 degrees. Glide slope intercept at 1,630 feet, but that's not what I see here. I see 4,000 feet here, not here. So I don't understand, because isn't that little star supposed to be our glide slope intercept? I believe it is, but I don't know. I've been known to be wrong occasionally. Should be a Cat 1 ILS for us. If we just take a quick peeky peek at our weather here, there's our visibility. All nines, variable at 2 knots, broken at 1800. We should be fine as far as visibility is concerned. So it should be a normal Cat 1 ILS approach, and we'll fly most of it manually. Airport elevation 364 feet. There are some minimum safe altitudes, 4,300 in this sector, which we're going to be coming in down over here. And then over here is 3,500 for all of this. So once we finish coming around that racetrack, we're going to come in here at Lampo. That's where we need to be at 4,000 feet, and then we'll continue on in from there. You can see here at Lampo 4,000. It's my understanding that should be glide slope intercept. Maybe I'm getting that wrong. Maybe that's initial approach fix is the little star. Either way, down here to 8.0 out, 4.1 out, and then 0.6 out. Those are both different missed approach points depending on which ILS you're flying. In fact, we didn't talk about the missed approach, did we? Climb straight ahead via the FR. What is LCTR? I don't think I've ever seen that before. The FR LCTR. If anybody knows what that means, let me know, because I've never seen that on an approach chart. Anyway, and then out until 10 nautical miles from the Fred VOR, and then or 7 miles from the FFM VOR, or 5,000 feet, whichever is later. Then turn left to the TAI VOR, maintain 5,000 feet. There's a whole lot going on there for that missed approach. Let's hope we don't have to do it. You can see the profile here, pretty straightforward. We've got happy lights on the left-hand side, and then it's runway REIL. Oh, I just did this just the other day too. REIL stands for runway end something lights. Anyway, and then again the PAPI lights on the left-hand side. Our Cat 1 ILS is going to be a decision altitude of 529 feet. Okay, a lot of talky talk there. Let's scroll this down just a little bit so you can see what's going on here. So there's the racetrack right there. You can see it. So we're going to come in here. Why are we not descending already? Like, shouldn't we already be on descent? No, it's got top of descent partway through that racetrack. That's pretty crazy. All right, that's fine. It is what it is. We do need to put our localizer frequency 110.55 into both of the nav radios. The nav radios are the bottom radios. So bring this down to 110. Bring this up to 0.55. There we go, and we can just switch it over. We're using the LNAV, so we don't need. We're not using the frequencies to navigate. So there we go. That takes care of that. What else? Anything else? There was something else that crossed my mind there, and now I can't remember what. Oh yeah, the decision altitude, 529 feet on the Barrow. Put that on there. Barrow 529. That'll take a minute. Demo. There we go, 529. So those different missed approach points depend on which ILS you're flying, right? So for a Cat 1 ILS, it is a 529 foot decision altitude. For a Cat 2, it is 429 feet, and for Cat 3, it is 50 feet. So you're going to have a different missed approach point depending on which ILS you're flying. Okay, that's about the gist of it, folks. We're going to be descending here relatively soon anyway, so I'm going to hop off and I will see you guys as we're swinging around this way to come on to final. Alrighty, folks, we're making our turn towards our final approach course here. We're a little high. The aircraft, in my opinion, did not manage the altitude well at all, which I think is going to cause us some problems. So I'm definitely trying to get her to come down a little bit quicker. So you can see using the speed brakes because we're way above the altitude we're supposed to be at. So I'm keeping the speed where it's at instead of lowering it, and just throwing out the speed brakes and hoping that that gets us down in time. I think we'll be alright. Yeah, I think we'll be fine here. So let's take a look at our approach checklist here. The approach is selected in brief. The nav radios are set for the approach. Landing lights are on. Auto brakes are set to 1. Auto spoilers are not armed yet. Engine start switches are on continuous. And we'll just continue our flaps and everything here as we carry on. So we'll see how it goes here. Let's go ahead and lock in the localizer while we can. Or we should be able to anyway. Why does my brain... There it is. Oh, it's not letting me. Too high maybe? Or maybe we're just too far out. It won't even let me arm it. Oh, don't tell me that's wrong. 110.55, 110.55. There is no nav radio on here, right? No. Nor did I think there was, but I thought I'd check anyway. 110.55 on both. So we should be able to lock in the localizer, but it doesn't want to let us for some reason. Drag required again. Just throw it out there. We're going to need every last bit of it. We're going to be fighting, in my opinion, to get down in time here, I think. I don't know what it is about this area. Had the same problem going into Amsterdam. Why will it not let me arm the localizer here? I'm going to throw out that first setting of flaps. That'll bring our speed down a little bit more as well. Should work out pretty nice for us. Once again, let's try the localizer. It's just not going to let us. Yeah, I got drag out. You don't need to keep telling me drag's required. Interesting. Maybe the frequency's not updated. Maybe they changed it since this was originally released. Let's throw in the next setting of flaps there. Here's our transition altitude, 1017. That's where we need to be. It is not going to let me lock in that localizer, is it? Let's bring that down to 1,000 feet. See if we can get eyes on. Interesting. That's not letting me lock it in. I didn't do anything wrong here, right? I've got 110.55 in the active on both sides. I've got the ILS programmed into here. Well, you should be able to lock onto that. That doesn't make any sense. Well, let me lock onto glide path there. That turned it back off. That turned it on. Yeah, it's not letting me do localizer. So let's hit the approach switch and see what happens. Alright, let's go and get those spoilers back up and arm them at this point. There we go. And it's on glide path now, which is interesting. Let's go ahead and bring in the next setting of flaps. But the LNAV, it's still on the FMC path here, so that's kind of interesting. So let's put this to 6.6 where it was before. Let's go heading select. There we go. It just locked the FMC. It says single channel. Press the other. That's so weird. I've never had to do that before. Can somebody explain to me why it did that instead of locking on the localizer like it normally would? That is really strange. All right, next setting of flaps coming in. Let's get that gear down. And we're looking for 150. Bring that speed down a bit. Next setting of flaps coming in, and we're going to be flaps 30, right? Yeah, flaps 30, 150 is our V approach speed. So there's flaps 25 coming in. And flaps 30, we'll put this at 150. And we should have the airfield in sight. We do. There it is. We can barely see it. Let's turn the track IR on. Little jump here. There we go. Landing checklist. Gear is down and locked. 3 green. Flaps are set to 30. Speed is set. And we can turn the auto throttles off now. Get rid of that. And there we go. Let's start taking over the speed. We'll let the autopilot fly the aircraft for the moment. Just trying to get that speed down a little bit further. It's a little bumpy coming in. There's a lot of clouds here. And now the wind is completely behind us. You see that? Right now we're in a complete tailwind. I don't think that we're in a microburst. But we'll see. Keep a close eye on it. Keep an eye on it here. We got a straight tailwind right now, which that really drives me nuts sometimes. Hopefully that's just the altitude we're at and it shifts as we get down. But if the wind is 247 instead of what did Active Sky say it was? Active Sky says the wind is scattered at 4 knots. Or not scattered. Variable. Where is it at? Variable at 2 knots. That's what it says. Variable at 2 knots. So you tell me, why am I getting one thing from Active Sky and well, now see, it's shifted. It's completely gone now. So let's take the autopilot off. There we go. Fantastic. And we'll fly her in ourselves here. We're just a skosh fast. Pull those throttles back just a little bit. And then you're just kind of playing with the throttles a little, right? So we're just trying to get her to come down just a little bit, not too much. Our frame rates are okay. I'm gonna let's go Control Shift T and turn the traffic off because it just, I don't know, just not doing as great as I want it to. That, and I don't want any aircraft crossing our flight path down here anyway. Alright, looking good. Wow, what was that all about? All the way down to 8 frames a second, you see that? That was interesting. Okay, let's get in a little more thrust there. We're looking alright, not too shabby. Got just a skosh low there.
500. 400. 400.
Alright, let's listen to the callouts.
300. 300. 200. 200. Minimums.
Continue. Wow, we just
100.
floated right up.
100. 50. 40. 30. 40. 20. 30. 10. 20.
Barely touched it. Barely touched it. Look at that float. Look at that. Still floating. Wow. Well, it was smooth as silk, that's for sure. That was crazy though. Minus 21 feet per minute, but at the expense of landing where we should have, to be honest with you. Oh, whoa, whoa, what is that? What the heck is that? Oh, sometimes the things that take place in a simulator are just ridiculous. Let's turn this guy on here. Alright, APU's coming on. Take the next exit up here. And while we're getting ready to do that, let's just see. There's 13 suitable parkings. Let's take gate 119. Yes, we want to follow me. And that's everything loading in. Wow, good lord. My system's unhappy right now. Alright. Not our finest showing, but not our worst either. Turn those off. Let's get the spoilers back up. Let's get the flaps all the way up. And then once we get off the runway here, we'll bring it to a stop and wait for the follow me. Alright, here he is obviously, so we'll follow him to our parking space. As far as our after landing checklist goes, our landing lights are off, strobe lights are off at this point, flaps are up, spoilers are down, which is where those belong. We've got our flight directors turned off, our auto throttle is turned off, our auto brake is turned off. The APU has been started and the ignition switches have been set back to, what is it, just off, right? Yeah, just off. So now we'll just follow him if I can get the aircraft to keep moving here. I have no idea how far we're going to have to taxi. So I will probably just cut some of this out and then see you guys when we get where we're going. So one of the weirdest things happened. I actually recorded the shutdown and getting everybody offloaded, opening the doors and all of that stuff. And then I recorded the, whatever you want to call it, the outro or whatever. And I went to just rename it because it keeps it in order for the editing, and it disappeared. Like literally, I clicked on it and then it just disappeared. I have no idea what happened. So we went from the after landing, unless I can find that thing, we went from the after landing straight to this section here. You guys have all seen the shutdown of a 737 before, so I'll go back to what I was saying in the last portion of the video, which is that I hope that you enjoyed this flight. This was flight number 2 in the Circadian, is that? I have to look it up again. The Circadian Rhythm Tour, I believe that's what it's called, Rhythm Killer Tour. And this flight was really short, but the idea of the tour is that almost all the flights are extremely long. And the next flight is going to leave here. I don't remember where it's going, but it's going to be a 5,000 nautical mile flight, more than 5,000 nautical miles. And I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a good time. We'll be flying with KLM again. It'll be in a 777 this time. So that I hope that you guys are looking forward to that one. If you guys haven't had an opportunity, head on over to macairvirtual.com, take a look at what we're all about, and see if this is the kind of airline that would interest you. And with that, if you haven't had an opportunity, please smash the subscribe button, click on the little bell so that you get notifications anytime that I upload a video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. That lets me know that I'm doing a good job. And if you didn't like it, well, you can go ahead and give it a thumbs down. But please do me a favor and put some type of constructive criticism down in the comments section. Keep it nice, but let me know what I can do to make the videos a little better. And if it's feasible, I'd be more than happy to oblige. So apart from the fact that we missed the shutdown due to some strange glitch, that's it. That's all and no more, folks. Until next time, as always, keep the blue side up unless otherwise instructed by ATC. God bless you all. Have a wonderful day.